Background: UK migration and dependent visas. To understand the impact of the new rules, we must first look at the bigger picture of immigration in the UK. For centuries, the UK has relied on migration. After World War II, when industries and services needed rebuilding, workers were invited from Commonwealth countries like India, Pakistan, and the Caribbean. Later, as part of the European Union, freedom of movement allowed millions of EU citizens to work and live in Britain. Migration shaped modern Britain into one of the most diverse societies in the world. Today, around 15% of the UK's population was born abroad. That's nearly 10 million people, making Britain one of the most multicultural nations in Europe. Migrants filled labour shortages, supported the healthcare system, contributed to education, and brought billions into the economy. Graduation capped the importance of international students among migrants. International students have played an especially critical role. Each year, over 600,000 students come from countries like India, China, Nigeria, and Pakistan to study in the UK. They contribute £40 billion annually through tuition fees and living expenses, supporting universities and local economies alike. For these students, dependent visas have been a lifeline. Many are married or have children. Being able to bring their families ensures emotional stability, financial support, and better chances of academic success. Family man-woman-girl dependent visas explain dependent visas allow the spouse, partner, or children of a primary visa holder, whether a student or skilled worker, to join them in the UK. In some cases, dependents are also allowed to work part-time. This makes life easier for families and allows them to share responsibilities. In 2023, more than 150,000 dependent visas were granted to the family members of international students alone. This number shocked policymakers and became a political issue. Chart with upward trend rising numbers and pressure. Net migration reached 745,000 in 2023, the highest in UK history. While economists argue this was partly due to post-pandemic recovery and humanitarian programs, such as visas for Ukrainians and Hong Kong residents, critics link the rise to students and their dependents. The media frames stories of overcrowded housing, NHS pressure, and school shortages, often pointing fingers at migrant families. Politicians responded with promises to cut numbers. This set the stage for the 2025 dependent visa reforms. Dependent visa changes explained. In early 2025, the UK government announced sweeping reforms to dependent visas. These changes targeted both international students and skilled workers. Student-dependent visas ban on most dependents. From January 2025, international students can no longer bring dependents with them, except for those enrolled in research-based postgraduate programs like PhDs. Masters and undergraduate students, the majority, can no longer sponsor spouses or children. The government argues this ensures students are genuine and not using study visas as backdoor migration routes. Skilled worker dependent salary threshold raised from £26,200 to £30,000 plus for sponsoring dependents. Workers in sectors like retail, hospitality, or junior IT positions will struggle to qualify. Healthcare and social care staff remain partially protected but still face tighter rules. Proof of funds: migrants must show significantly higher savings to prove they can support dependents without relying on public funds. Example: bringing a spouse may now require thousands of pounds more in bank statements than before. Parent and elderly dependents: elderly dependent visas capped and fees raised. Migrants wanting to bring parents face almost impossible financial requirements. Fees and processing times: visa fees and NHS health surcharges increased. Longer processing due to stricter checks, causing delays in reunification. Why this is called sad news: students must live apart from their families during years of study. Skilled workers earning modest salaries cannot reunite with loved ones. Parents who dreamed of retiring with children in the UK are excluded. The government claims these reforms will cut net migration by tens of thousands. But critics warn they will damage universities, hurt businesses, and discourage global talent. Politics behind the decision. Immigration has always been a central political issue in Britain. One of the driving promises of Brexit was to take back control of borders. Ending free movement from the EU was meant to reduce migration. But ironically, net migration rose even higher post-Brexit as more workers came from outside Europe. By 2024, immigration became the hottest election issue. Politicians faced pressure from voters frustrated by housing shortages, NHS waiting lists, and cost of living crises. Targeting dependent visas became an easy way to show action without fully closing the doors on skilled migrants. Headlines in popular newspapers painted dependence as a strain on schools and housing. Stories emphasized record numbers of family arrivals rather than the economic benefits. This shaped public perception. The UK needs skilled workers, especially in healthcare and technology. Yet it also faces public demand for stricter controls. Dependent visas became the compromise, restricting families while still allowing workers and some students in. Critics argue this is more about politics than practical benefits. Cutting dependence may win votes but risks damaging Britain's long-term prospects. Impact on international students. International students are among the hardest hit. Many students relied on spouses working part-time. Without that support, studying becomes unaffordable. Costs rise, tuition fees, housing, childcare, all without family help. Separation from children and partners leads to stress, loneliness, and declining academic performance. Many may choose Canada or Australia, where dependents are welcome. Universities warn of sharp declines in applications from key countries like India and Nigeria. Potential loss: billions in tuition revenue. Some universities already lobbying the government for exemptions. A Nigerian student forced to leave 2 children behind. An Indian couple choosing Canada over the UK due to new rules. A Pakistani mother giving up her scholarship because she cannot bring her young child. This is why universities describe the policy as self-destructive. Impact on skilled workers and families. Workers in healthcare still allowed, but salary thresholds exclude many entry-level roles. Sectors like IT, hospitality, and retail most affected. Families face separation for years. Higher financial requirements put reunification out of reach. Employers warn of shortages. Care homes and NHS face staffing crises. Businesses fear losing talent to countries with friendlier policies. Outrage, lobbying, and warnings of financial crisis. Fear of losing competitiveness against Canada, US, and Australia. Mixed reactions. Some welcome reduced migration, others fear shortages. Protests, petitions, social media campaigns calling changes inhumane. Personal stories of heartbreak gain global attention. Defends changes as necessary for sustainability. Insists migration must be reduced to protect housing and services. Net migration numbers may fall. Families separated. Morale among migrants declines. Students shift to Canada, Australia, and Europe. Universities lose income and global prestige. Businesses face recruitment challenges. Aging population worsens. NHS and social care face worker shortages. UK risks losing reputation as a global hub. The 2025 dependent visa reforms are being called sad news for migrants for good reason. They break families apart, discourage students, and challenge workers. For the government, they are a political tool. For migrants, they are heartbreak. For the UK, they could prove a long-term mistake. The key question is, can Britain remain a global leader if it shuts its doors not only to talent, but to families? Only time will tell.